What's that? What up, everybody? We're just chilling. That's all. Oh man, I'm tired. I'm tired, so tired. Tired every day. All day long. What up? Oh man, I was hoping to stream during my stream. But that's alright, I guess. P Money. Welcome, Timothy Best, the Reester, and P Money. Yes, welcome. Yeah, these are my homeboys right here. The truest of the true. True blue. Let's see, there's 3, and there's 3 of you talking. As soon as there's 4, we'll know Eric Hawkins is lurking. Why, thank you, P Money. I appreciate that. I don't know if you've seen lately, but I've been going through doing videos about my old retro video game collection that I was trying to build up over the years by basically, I don't think it was very many that I went and like bought offline from somebody, you know, like from eBay or Amazon. Most of the time it was looking for those in the wild and sort of doing it that way. Like I would find something at a Goodwill, and then I'd go and I'd flip that for more money at a used bookstore, and then I would build it up that way. Yeah. So, some of them have more games than others. That's for sure. Yes. I don't know how entertaining those videos are. Oh, hello, Lady Vixen. Hello. Hola. Mi esposa es muy bonita. Oh, man. I'm just going to stare. Alright, but seriously, I need to plug this in, or else we'll face deletion. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't have much to talk about, to be honest with you. Yeah, there we go. Staring contest. That is good streaming content. Let's try it. Did they win? I started reading this morning. Really the first Savage Dragon I've read. I've skimmed it before. It's just like, I don't know. Not impressed. These guys with Image, they had this huge opportunity to start this amazing legacy of characters and content, and they did not. This isn't, you're seeing like one corner of it. There are 3 bookcases in here you're not even seeing. And these ones, you're not even seeing most of them. But yes, I'm impressed with it too. That's why I have to downsize it, because there's too much of it. Oh, you leave for vacation tomorrow, P-Money. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. October 1st, I'm ordering an Aaron LaPresse signed sketchbook that's first on my list of comics to buy in October. My friend, you will not be disappointed. Unfortunately, that's in the other room. But it is an amazing sketchbook. I like art books, so I can look at it and try to learn. But I don't really go out and buy people's sketchbooks. But I've been a fan of... Stay up there, scrub it. Of Aaron LaPresse ever since the New 52. When he made one of the only good books. On that whole launch. Along with Dan Jurgens. So I really like his art style. It's very classic illustration, but modern too. It's kind of interesting. Like, it's very, I don't know, late Silver Age, early Bronze Age look on stuff, maybe, I guess you'd say. See if we can find, like something like this Silver Age stuff. I don't know. It's always been an art style I've enjoyed. And he did not disappoint with his sketch. He doesn't phone those in. They're fantastic. Draw. Hello, She Spins. What am I supposed to draw? Newfie. Today was clean house day. Jason Robinson made fun of me. You're possessive cleaning the house when you are going to be in it for 2 weeks. Yeah, you don't want to come home to a messy house. That's the worst. Like when you go on vacation and you come home to a messy house. That's never fun. I at least try to have the kitchen cleaned up before we go anywhere. Like, you can't have dirty dishes sitting around for a few days or a week at your house. Got this scratch, and that's all I can see on the camera. I mean, I can download it on my Xbox, but then I'd have to get Xbox Live again. I don't have Xbox Live. And I could delete a bunch of stuff off of my hard drive, other games that I want to play. I'm not opposed to it. But you said is it cross-play? Like, can you play it with your pals if you're on Xbox and if you're on PC? Does it make a difference? My yearly self-portrait. I almost said portrait. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound right. My yearly self-portrait? Okay. Boom. There you go. You played with Nigel. He's on Xbox? Alright. I mean, I'm not... We'll see if it's in the budget. Getting Xbox Live again. I have considered it lately because we've been doing a lot more streaming from the Xbox to Twitch. I don't know if it automatically puts my Twitch in the description if I go live. But it's just twitch.tv/FlyFoxPro. I need active players in my clan so these randos stop leaving. Yeah. Hey, Timothy Best, my best mod and good friend. Wow. Wow, I'm a mod on your channel too. Hurting my feelings. Give me a character to draw, and I'll draw a little sketchy card of him. Since Reese wants me to draw. I'm guessing he wants me to actually work on my comics. Which I'd have to have time and energy to do. Oh, I'm your favorite mod. He is my best mod. In your face. I'm a terrible mod, but a better friend. Metal Gear, since that's D&Q tonight. Is it really? I might actually draw a line with that. I don't have any reference for Metal Gear in here. We'll have to do it off the top of my head. It's going to look nothing like Solid Snake. But that's okay. It's my interpretation of what Solid Snake would look like if it was drawn poorly. I don't think Solid Snake would have a smile. Most of my guys... You're a mod? Don't be abusing that, or Lady Vixen will take it away. I'm a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 1. It's one of my favorite games. And the Metal Gear Solid 2 had good gameplay. Wasn't as thrilled with the whole being, spoiler alert for a game that's a million years old, the whole being Raiden thing and it being whack, but it was still fun. But then it started to get too big for its britches. The game just I don't know, wasn't as interested in it anymore after a while. Let's see. She does have the power. I would be a mod, but FlyFoxPro doesn't know if he would give it to me or Evil P Money. That's the thing, you never know. You gotta be careful. Check out amazingly old content on idealcomics.net. If you guys are interested in the best thing associated with Ideal Comics, you should check out Peter the Problematic Person on Webtoons. This is invigorating, I'm sure. Curses, it didn't create a link. Boom. I mean, you can't be any more spammy than HJG. I'm sure he's on his way. And the only reason I gave him a mods thing in the first place is because he posts so much that his basically YouTube thinks he's a spam bot. So that's fun. So I can't see it if I'm streaming from the StreamYards app on my phone. I can't see what he's saying because it holds his comments, or it reads it from the top chat and not the live chat. Peter is pretty great. I agree. FlyFox, if you play regularly, I'd make you my first officer in the clan. I don't even know. I've never even played Phantasy Star. It might be terrible. If we post a lot, we can fuse YouTube. Well, let's see, shall we? If you post a lot of links. See, because he posts so many links, and he doesn't give descriptions about them or anything. He'll just like mass post all these links to Kickstarters and Indiegogos and stuff. And so it thinks he's spam. Well, you got to bail. All right, Matthew D. Reese, you have fun. It's pretty easy to pick up. All right. Okay, maybe. I'll give it a thought. I'll give it a thought. But I'll make no guarantees. Well, I guess I take that back. I have played Phantasy Star on Sega Genesis. Those were Phantasy Star games, right? Let's color in Solid Snake's hair here. Snake! 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 Or is it a snick? I don't know. One or the other. Earthworm. Ah, there he is. There's my boy. Ah, cool costume, eh? It's not a snick, it's a snick. All right, Lady Vixen. You calm down. Earthworm Jim 2, Vestry. I heartily recommend both of those. They have my fullest recommendation. Not that anyone in this that would watch my chat isn't familiar with them already, most likely. But, yes. Doug Tenaple needs my recommendation. He's not very well known outside of these circles, so he needs all the help he can get for promotion. Alright, you guys ready to see Solid Snake? It's just his head, so don't be disappointed. But he looks a little bit like Rambo. There you go. Boom! Done. Without reference. I knew he has a headband. It's been such a long time since I've played Metal Gear Solid. I haven't played any of them since 4. And then I sort of just gave up and watched my little brother play it. I felt like that was the conclusion to Solid Snake's story, and I didn't care about the franchise after that. So Berserker, that don't need our help, man. Made like $15 million. But that's okay. That's alright. Apparently he has no pupils in his eyes. Wow. Have you ever seen my artwork before? That's how I draw eyes, dude. It's an artistic choice. Why you gotta be like that? Huh? Why you gotta be like that, P-Money? What would happen if FlyFoxPro took away Vixen's mod status? You know, she could just give it back to herself. She'd just go in the other room and give it back. Log in. I'll make that person the Honorable Duke of the Castlevania Cast Club. cheekbone went a little high there. There we go. Fine. P-Money wants me to give him pupils and ruin the artistic integrity. Wait, what did Nigel do? Yeah, P-Money. Good point. You're terrible judging other people. Making him look even more like Sly Stallone. With like some tired looking eyes here. There, boom. Fixed. Although the camera makes it look kind of crappy because I didn't fully erase the one eye. But there you go. Boom. Sylvester Stallone as Solid Snake. Coming soon to a movie theater near you. Lady Vixen is the official Duchess of Castlevania Club. Castlevania Cast Club now, because I am at 101 thanks to her. Thank you. Thank you. I will not stop shameless self-promotion now. Ha ha. Nigel made it to 100 subs. Congratulations, Nigel. His comment had to be approved, so you maybe didn't see it. Okay, I didn't see it. I will send you all that Nigel guy mug. You guys, just to be clear, Nigel is gonna be huge. Like, if you guys didn't know, his channel is gonna be pretty big someday. He's making primo content over there. So get in on that train while you can. And then you can be like, I was one of his first couple hundred subscribers, man. I've been watching that guy since the beginning. You know, then you're in on it. You can be one of the cool kids for once. Unlike this channel, Nigel will grow to be large and in charge of YouTube. He's going to be as big as PewDiePie's cousin, PewDiePie. You know, I have stickers for sale based on FlyFoxPro. They're on like Teespring, I think. Is that in the description? Probably not. Should probably add that to the description sometime. That way, people can go buy stickers to support me. Oh, during the beep and the riots and the wildfires, there was one bright spot. And it was that I was sub 102 back in September 2020. I want a FlyFoxPro sticker. Sounds cool. Yes. I'm guessing it's not in the description. Is it on my Twitter? Anybody know? Might be linked to my Twitter profile. I think possibly. I'd share it in the chat, but I can't do that while I'm on my phone. Alright, there we go. We've made him even better. We made this shadow more prominent under his chin. Lady Vix will see if she can find it and we'll throw up the link. Thank you. Let's see. Yes. I was thinking recently, you know, there's novels that are set in, you know, the past, right? Historical fiction. People will set them in like, oh, I'm going to write a novel set in the 1990s. In 1980 whatever. And then they have to like do research in order to portray it right. Well, no one's ever going to want to set it in 2020 because it's a terrible year of like, everybody, she walked down the street with her mask. She saw someone without a mask. She shamed them for not wearing masks. Like, what are you going to put in it? Terrible. Why did you choose that Spawn Batman review rather than the Miller one? Because I don't own the Miller one. So, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Don't own it. Not going to review it if I don't own the comic. But I have read it. I have read it. And because I thought because it had Chuck Dixon in the name, maybe it might get shared around this little ghetto we're in. But I doubt it. I probably should. I want to get my hands on the actual Spawn Batman one. I mean, as much as I liked some of these creators involved in this, is it in here? Yeah, it's right here. In this comic, as much as I like some of these guys, like I've read some Chuck Dixon comics before, they're competently written, and Klaus Janson is a person whose inks I have liked on Frank Miller's work. It was just a real bland book, and it didn't feel like a big deal. It just felt like a throwaway issue of a. Sorry, maybe I wasn't as truthful in my review. But since thinking about it more, it feels like a throwaway issue of a comic when it should have been a huge event, honestly. And because it didn't have Todd doing art or even writing it, it felt, I don't know, it just didn't have the Spawn feel to it. And I've read basically Spawn up until he stopped initially drawing it and like Greg Capullo or whoever took over. And I'm not the hugest Spawn guy in the world, but I like Todd's art, and there was always something to it, like a little bit of kick to the series. But that book doesn't have much of anything. And having read the Frank Miller Spawn with Todd McFarlane, that one is a lot more. I mean, it's crazy and off the wall, but it is. It's good. It's fun to read. It's exciting. Earlier I was talking about the Image comics. And I think those guys, they really missed a chance to do something crazy and off the wall. And really they just sort of did slightly more edgy superhero books. Like the Savage Dragon. Oh, I'm edgy. I'm Eric Larson. I'm going to devolve into into porn comics is what it is now. If you guys didn't know. Nowadays, where like explicit adult content is included in the comic. Oh, dropped my pencil. That's not even the one I dropped. Apparently there was 2 pencils on the ground. And then Todd, obviously he's edgy with his stuff, and then you have Wildcats, and which is somewhere over here. You know, you have Wildcats, and it's like a slightly more edgy X-Men at first. And the art looks good in all of these. I mean, I don't particularly like Eric Larson's sort of I don't know what you'd call it. I can't really find a good way to describe his art, but like the scratchiness of it. It kind of feels like half done to me. But that's like all of their style, even Jim Lee at the time. Yeah, that too much edge, man. Well, like, you know, when you had a comic like this come out years before that has a serial killer convention in it, and the kind of stuff that was in this, it's not like there wasn't edgy stuff in the 80s and before, like, but even before that, like you have back in the 70s, you have Saber and stuff, so it's like, I guess it makes sense because they had to get these normies to like their new comics, but I don't know. Just none of the original Image stuff has really wowed me. It's all just okay. And there was comics from that time frame that are great. So, Killing Joke was 80s. Exactly. You had... It's not like you didn't have... You know what? Kevin Sharp's drawing of... Maybe that's not the best place for it. But, I mean, you had... And this is just preference, but like, you had this Brian Boland art with Alan Moore writing something serious. You know what I don't like about this is it's recolored. I don't like when they recolor these comics after the fact. Well, like, at least Brian Boland did the covers, the recolors. That's okay, I guess. But in principle, I don't usually like them. Be interesting to get a hold of. I'm sure they're expensive, but the single issues, and to do a comparison of them to the recolors. Well, even this, like, you know, you have I feel this is a more enjoyable book to read, and it's just as edgy. It was like, well, I guess it comes back to the criticism of those Image guys in the first place was their writing. The books were interesting to look at and had good art, but the writing was not that great. And that was the criticism. So, but you had Year One before that too. You had Daredevil stuff from Frank Miller. I don't know. Otis Steen. I heard of that. What stinks, P-Money? Darn, my tracking number seems to say my Titan is still not in my province. Probably means I won't get it until October. Too bad. That stinks. I feel bad for you. Get your stickers here. Stickers. Get your stickers here. Yeah, those stickers are fun. Let's see. You know what I'd rather read from that era? Stuff like this. This is the Batman, the Dark Knight comics. Adventures, basically the animated series. And they're just so fun and good. Often these are some of the best content. Like the only good comics that are on the shelf is when they're doing them for kids, because they're classic stories with, like, this is like a Silver Age comic book, but new and with newer updated art. You know, this art style from the show that it was based on. Those are fun, man. This one's also interesting. I stole it from the library. Don't tell anybody. No, I bought this off of eBay or something. But this is got a bunch of stuff about Harley Quinn, and before she was the Harley Quinn of like today, where everyone's so obsessed with her. But it's got Poison Ivy and her in it. That's a really good one. I think I have. Yeah. Here's the Harley and Ivy comic by Paul Dini, Judd Winnick, Bruce Timm. Got a bunch of Harley Quinn stuff in it. Those are fun. It's in keeping with the tone of the show. It doesn't get too far away from it. Like, there is in the Batman Black and White collection right here. Oh, you can't see it. I guess I got to get it out. There's one that's a little bit more adult, but it's drawn by Bruce Timm, and it's a little weird because you're used to Bruce Timm's art being one that's appropriate, you know, his content being appropriate for families, but it doesn't mean as was this one. The art's fantastic, but it's interesting. Yeah, let's see, like year one, right? That was before this edgy stuff, and it's good. I think it's just competent writing is the difference. Ugh, put that back. Here's an interesting comic that we can look at. Let's see what people are saying. Ooh, Batman Brave and the Bold grew on me. Well, yeah, it's a good show. You just got to kind of be in the right mood because it's a love letter to the Silver Age of comics. Like, I have these Brave and the Bold team ups, and this one's from the Silver Age, and then this one over here is like from the Bronze Age. One behind me is from the Bronze Age, and this one's a lot more serious from the Bronze Age because that's after they sort of changed it up. But they're just fun. I mean, they're both Batman, as long as it's good, well done. Okay, my pastor wants to pray with me that our plane trip goes well, especially in COVID days, so I got to go meet with him. Take care, everyone. Bye, P-Money. Be praying for your trip to go well, Mian. Wait. My favorite manga is Dogs, Bullets, and Carnage. Dude, yeah, edgy manga is, like, too far for me, man. Like, let's see. The edgiest manga I have should be somewhere close to the... I don't see it. It's not edgy at all. That's basically the point. Oh, here it is. Boom. Here's the edgiest manga I own. Still shonen. Claymore. I actually want to get more of these Claymore volumes. I really enjoy that. Otherwise, I have stuff like Hikaru no Go. Let's play Go. Isn't it fun? Come on, guys. And the edgiest manga of them all. Edgelord status. I mean, it's about Grim Reapers. Oh, look at this. It's amazing. What else? Oh, there we go. This one is... They put a lot of pages in this one. This is a thicker comic book. Anyways, the point is, yes, Claymore is fun, dude. It's as edgy as a rated R movie. Oh, okay, alright. Yes, Silver Age comics. That's what I grew up on, was Silver Age and Bronze Age stuff. That's all I had access to, mostly. And I had Archies and some Christian-geared stuff. And a few Captain America things. But mostly like Golden Age, Silver Age, and Bronze Age stuff was at the library. And I could read it at the library. But I didn't read any of the 90s stuff till much later. And then I had a few scattered issues of like Superman that I managed to get my hands on. Which would have been after this, basically after he comes back. So not the best loved era of Superman stuff, but still okay. And then once I got older, then I started buying stuff for myself. Ah, bric-a-brac too, man. What's it at, HJG? What's the... How much more money do they need to raise for that one? By the way, the Phobos looks amazing. Jason Brubaker's Phobos. I think y'all should back that one. Here's one that's interesting. This is a Mignola drawn DC comic, Cosmic Odyssey. And he penciled it. He didn't ink it, though. The inker was Carlos Garzon, who I'm not familiar with. But you definitely get some of those, like, even the cover you can see. I wonder if he inked this himself. And you can see that Hellboy look in this quite a bit. Like, it's got a lot more detail and lines than later stuff would. Not as many shadows. But there's definitely some spots where you're like, man, you could see where he was going with his art. And it's pretty cool. Like, this stuff here, a lot of shadow on these pages. But Mignola, man, he's great. There we go. There's Bug Forager.
Can I finish this up?
Yes. I wrote a review of the Forager/Bug mini-series, or maxi-series, I guess it was. I don't know how many issues it was. What's the difference between a mini-series and a maxi-series? Doesn't matter. The point is that Mike Allred, the creator of Madman, he did a maxi-series, or mini-series, whatever you want to call it, about that character, and I'm writing a review about it, and it's going to be a more produced video. I've got some of those in the works. Like, most of the time when I'm reviewing a lot of these comics that I do quickly, it's either going to be like a little single issue thing or something quick that I don't have much to say about. But if I have a little bit more, if I think it's of more interest, then I'm going to be doing that kind of stuff. Here's some more Hellboy-looking artwork. But that's a really cool comic. If you guys aren't familiar with that one, I try to get a hold of that one. All right, let's see what the chat's been saying. Let's see. Bric-a-Brac 2 has 14 days left. Needs $6,630. Oh, no, $6,330 for a full funding. Yeah. Is it a take it all or does it fund type of thing, or is it flexible? Really too bad. Bric-a-Brac #1 was of interest to me. I did a review of it, and ultimately I thought it would be a fun little Christmas comic for people, but it's a lot of work to get a comic done, especially at that level. Like, the art was really pretty good in that, and the colors and everything. I'm sure it cost a pretty penny to get produced, so I don't know. I don't know why the first one managed to get funded, this one not. Jawbreakers 3 with Nexus. Bleh. Don't have any interest in Jawbreakers. I think more and more, like, I'm interested in this superhero stuff here, or like old Image stuff that I'm going through and seeing if it's actually any good. But new sort of superhero-y themed stuff, I'm not as keen on. You really got to sell me, and the review, the Jawbreaker stuff has not really appealed to me. Classics Illustrated. These are fun. I want to get some more of these, but I want, like, you gotta be careful. So I looked at a bunch of these at the store the other day, at the used bookstore, and some of them had interesting art, and some of them was just like meh. But this one's got some cool, classically illustrated looking art. But it's got ships and stuff in it, and ocean themed stuff, and almost piratey stuff, and I'm interested in that. So the Count of Monte Cristo. I have interested in adapting some old books like that, so those are of interest to me, for sure. You know what needs to be done that I haven't seen is, there's a lot of these in-depth comic book channels that really analyze comic books, and they really go into the nitty-gritty details of the books, and they look at all of them, and they're like, oh man, wow, cool, dude. And there's not really one about Fables, and it kind of boggles my mind, because Fables was a huge hit and really good. The original run was drawn by this guy, Medina, what's his name, Lon Medina. And then after that, it was drawn by Mark Buckingham. But they both really, I don't know, maybe, was the inker the same? Nope. I guess they're just similar, because really the artwork it's fantastic in both of them. Yeah, I love Fables quite a bit. Gotta go to sleep. Bye, HJG. Thanks for sharing all the links, Mian. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure, guys. For sure, yeah. What else is of interest here? I could look at random stuff. JR art. I'm not sure he was well suited for Superman, to be honest with you. I think Superman is a grand hero, and I think old JR is good on more street level things. Like, I read the Batman that he did with Scott Snyder, and I wasn't that impressed with it. Like, I don't know. Street level guys, maybe, but Superman, and this costume, this Jim Lee designed costume, wasn't helping anybody. Let's just be honest. Let's be truthful about it. That was a terrible design. So, like, when you get to a more normal artist, it works a little bit better, even though he still doesn't have his undies here. But just a more classic drawing style, that's what you need for Superman, in my opinion. Unless you're going to go, like, unless it's like a particular aesthetic, like Batman Brave and the Bold, or that, like, where it's, I don't know, it's based off another property. I just don't know that JR was the right choice for that. Like, here's Kurt Swan, right? Let's find a nice Kurt Swan image. For the longest time, Superman had to look the same, basically, in any comic that DC put out. And it's weird to see him not in that style. It was just him getting his butt kicked. We need a nice triumphant panel. And anyways. But, like, there's something a lot more grand about this Superman that's classically illustrated versus the John Romita Jr. one. At least in my opinion. Even, like, this Superman, he's pretty different, but there's a nobility to him that I think Frank quietly captures that John Romita Jr. And maybe I'm just bagging on John Romita Jr. I don't know. Am I wrong? Like, this is how Superman's supposed to look, guys. Like John Byrne. Supposed to look like John Burns drew him. I could just look at John Byrne art all day long. I have these Man of Steel collections, and the only problem I have with them is that they also contain the stupid Adventures of Superman written by Marv Wolfman and Jerry Ordway. And all I want is the John Byrne stuff. But it is kind of interesting to see that collected into a format like that, where basically you're collecting Action Comics, Superman, and Adventures of Superman all in this one book. So you have, like, the entire run from that era in each of the books. It's kind of a cool idea. Nowadays, they would never do that. They want to get all their money worth. What did I say? What are you answering? Yes, it is Cross Comics. I'm interested. I don't remember what I said. Batman is a little different, right? Batman doesn't necessarily have to be drawn like he's still in the Silver Age. Like, you can have a more... Like, Greg Capullo's in the middle, right? Like, he's cartoony, but his stuff also works well. I don't know, it's hard to analyze art sometimes, to be honest with you. And why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. What Superman should look like? Yeah. Yeah, Superman needs to be heroic, man. The DC house style was a good thing, and for the time at least. I guess nowadays it's fallen so far that you get such a wide variety of stuff. Like, you'll have something amazingly illustrated by Aaron Lopresti, and then on the other end you'll have like something that doesn't look good. Let's find a cool image from. I don't know. Anyways, if you guys haven't read this one, this Batman Superman from the New 52 era, written by Greg Pak and drawn by Jay Lee. It's got some pretty interesting looking artwork in it. Let's see. Oh, Batman's look needs to change a little with better ways of protecting himself. I don't know. I don't like the redesigning their costumes that happens all like so much now. I don't think. Oh, it's not in here. There's the Rebirth era like current Batman look with the yellow outline around the bat symbol. I don't like it. I get like beefing up his costume, making it look like it has more protection, as opposed to something skin tight like a Bronze Age or a Silver Age type of book, or the Golden Age suit where it's basically just a skin tight fabric. I get that beefing it up, but I don't know. I don't like that current design. I like the more gray or gray and bluish costumes. Yeah. Indeed, sir. Good sir. Let's look at some more Mike Mignola stuff. We were looking at Mike Mignola earlier, so let's look at Hellboy. On clearance for $3. What a steal this was. You can see like a lot more shadow in this than what we saw in Cosmic Odyssey, but you can obviously it's before he got to this point. Definitely interesting. Hellboy art. I like that stuff. I want some fancy fantasy armor, like in real life. I want some of that too. I need to get some more sort of fantasy comics like that. They just don't exist. Like there's adaptions of stuff. Like, I know Mike S. Miller worked on an adaptation of some of the Robert Jordan stuff, but I'm just not as interested in that. Oh, what's up, Netcat? Welcome. We're just talking comics and all kinds of stuff, so feel welcome to add to the conversation. Yeah, but like, I've got one of the bookcases that you can't see is over there, and it's got all my sci-fi and fantasy books on it. And I feel like that's a huge untapped market for comics, where those guys would, if you could do a fantasy comic, there's a lot of readers out there. Like, it's a way bigger market than comic books. Same here was about colors for Batman costume. Notice you were live, so I thought I'd hop in and say hi. Well, hello. But yeah, I've been re-listening to in anticipation of the newest book in the series, the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, and it just makes me want to read a fantasy comic that is good. My Canadian Shield is on the way. I'll be doing a review of that when it comes. Yes. I try the. Now, I will say this. I don't review all of the crowdfunded books that I get, even if I like them. I don't review all of them, but I guess I just like Rick so much that I'll review it even if I hate it. But I'm going to tell the truth still. Stormlight Archive is awesome. It is awesome. And it's even more epic on the second read through. I'm not all of them. I haven't read all of the short stories. Do I own Unbound, Arcadium Unbound? I don't know. I don't think I did. I almost bought it. Or the Cosmere Unbounded, or whatever it is. What's it called? The short story collection. I haven't read that. But I've read pretty much all the main entries. Warbreaker, Elantris, Mistborn, Stormlight Archive. I've read all of the big ones. But not all the short stories. Brandon Sanderson's one of my favorite authors. And in a way, he's got a lot of stuff in common with comic books, at least the big comic book universes, because all of his stuff crosses over, and it's all really. I did not know that. That is a lot of interest to me. Did I know that Shadiversity is consulting with Brandon Sanderson now? About what? I mean, that's interesting because he's an expert on some stuff, or what? That's pretty cool. Oh, because he's an expert on medieval stuff. Oh man, I've been wanting Brandon Sanderson to do a more medieval series, more classic fantasies type stuff, because his stuff's so interesting. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, Brandon Sanderson is a machine. He writes a ton of books, and they're all good. I've never been disappointed by reading one. Some are better than others, obviously, like anything. I want to read. Oh, I need to read White Sand. Have you read the White Sand comics? I need to get those. My brother has read them, and he says they're good. So I need to read those. Yes. So anyways, the point is I've been listening to those on Audible. I have the paper copies over there, which is why I keep pointing at them. But you catch a lot more on the second. You don't read mini comics. That's all good, dude. The second and third read-throughs of the comics are where you, or not of the comics, of the books are where you get a lot of the cool stuff. You start to see a little bit more of the connections and things, and catch all the little hints, and that's always fun. Mostly the fantasy comic books that you're going to get are something like this. It's more like, I don't know, what would you call it, a modern fantasy, Unwritten or The Sandman or stuff like that. I feel like there's not as many sword and sorcery comics as there might have been at one point. Way of Kings is a great free use of a free Audible credit for anyone interested. Yeah, 30 to 40 hours. Yeah, it's a really long book. If you sign up for it, that's definitely one to get. But I'm excited for the newest book, to see what happens in the series. Yeah, for sure. What other fantasy comics do I own? I mean, technically, like, most of these are fantasy. Like, yeah, bang for your buck, indeed, with Audible, for sure. I think the first time I signed up for a free trial with Audible, I ended up getting a really short book, and I was like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking getting this short book? I'm pretty sure it was Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. And it's only like 10 hours long or something. It's a real short book. I don't know where it is. It should be over there, I think, in that pile of books on that bookshelf. I guess you get a lot of fantasy stuff in manga. Like, there's a definitely more popularity for, you know, and desire and demand for that stuff over there. And I got Oathbringer for my first Audible book. Oh, cool. Yes. I think I've listened... It's the first time I've listened to Way of Kings. I listened to Words of Radiance and Oathbringer on Audible. I'm pretty sure. I've read the entire manga for Soul Eater. It was really good. Is that one I have that I haven't read yet? No. It's my, like, random pile over here. Basically, it's all One Piece and Naruto, and then there's, like, a pile of the miscellaneous stuff that I pick up, you know, on a clearance sale or something. What is this one? Oh, Dragon Ball Z. Yu-Gi-Oh! Nothing like too crazy. Yes, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Indeed. But I like manga. I like that it's black and white art. I like black and white art a lot of the time. I like that it has a fantasy aesthetic, and that it's not just trying to be edgy for edgy's sake. Need to get some Azu Manga Dayo. LOL. Is that a pretty good one? Is that a pretty good one there, Timote Best? I feel like there's... I don't feel it. I think that I'd rather make comics like this with ongoing stories, and if I was going to, right, I'd rather be inspired by this than the superhero stuff. And what I mean by that is it's a very funny manga. Cool. What I mean by that is that I don't want to be constrained to the superhero genre or the Western model of comics, of single issues and stuff. I like the weekly model for manga, as I like to call it, as I like to refer to it. And the reason I do is because I remember there was this weeb I met when I was in the military, and I said, Oh, so do you read manga? And he was like, it's pronounced manga. And so I've always called it manga ever since then. To his face, I would say, oh, what manga you reading? It's manga. Oh, manga? What? Be right back. All right, I'm back. What are we talking about? What'd I miss? I know what you guys are talking about. What happened? What were we talking about? Before I had to go help. Everything? I missed everything? Alright. Alright, guys. Okay. I get the idea. Yeah, but the weekly model of manga, I think there's something more. I think that type of serialization works. When you're having to wait a month for... Yeah, I was purposely doing it. But we were pals. We were pals. It's okay. We're pals. Yeah. Thank you, She Spins. But we were pals. And he's one of the reasons why I actually tried to read some manga in the first place. When you're having to wait a month for a comic, that's one thing. But now, with this indie crowdfunding nonsense, you're having to wait a year and a half, 2 years to find out what happens in a story. So my advice to people would be, wait till you've got a complete thing done. Well, I can't make enough money on that. Oh, well, then, I don't know what to tell you. Some people are managing it. All right, see you, Netcat. Thanks for stopping in. But you kind of expect, with the amount of money you're paying for some of these books, like that you get, pay $400 and wait a decade, right? I don't think it's the greatest model in the world if you don't have a complete story. Oh, Happy Dinosaur, welcome. You're doing your next campaign in January. Cool, Cross. Well, if you hadn't had the problem with getting the money from Indiegogo, you would have had your books out a lot quicker, right? And then you could have gotten the next one out in a more timely fashion. But it's still not like a year away from when the campaign ended. But yeah, I feel like there's even people that I like that have put out a book that I like that isn't complete in its story. So here's one where I really like the idea, Gunship Thunder Punch. Brian Shearer, I like his artwork. He did it all himself for the most part. I mean, I think the lettering he didn't do, and somebody helped him edit it. But he did all the colors and stuff himself. And so he's able to keep the cost down, but he's also got other work to do. So my only issue with that is that it sort of ends right at the climax. Like, it really felt like the first half of a story, and there wasn't much resolution to it. Now, I'm interested in getting the next one, because at least it was inexpensive, and it had a lot of good stuff in it. To it, I should say. But then you have something like this stuff here. Common America and Soul Finder Demon Smash. And these are complete stories. This one could have used a few more pages, I think, and the pacing slowed down a little bit. It sort of, I think it needed like 10 to 20 more pages for the style of book it was. But it was good. And I liked that it was a complete story. Same with this. This one was, I think, perfect. It's one of my favorite crowdfunding comics I've done, Common America. Wholesome, real wholesome. That's not even a joke. Like, the art is real great in it. You got a fun style. Tim Lim killed it. He actually drew this one, but I don't think his art style suited it as well. He sort of changed it up. It's not as cartoony. But I'm excited for Matthew Weldon to draw that. I think his style is more appropriate for the content. But like those books, they're complete, right? So those guys will get my money going forward until they don't deserve it anymore, basically. Let's see. You probably pay more for the weight. See, it's the weight that they were paying for. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, oh, if I pay more money, I'll get to wait longer. And then I'll never find out if it's any good. I had a comic sitting around here that was something people waited for a long time, but I don't remember what I did with it. I probably threw it across the room. That's not it. So something like this, right? This is like a little single issue of a comic. And these guys at Gravestone Press. Where are my glasses? I don't wear glasses. Do I have them on my head? But like these guys, for the most part, they're telling a complete story in these single issues of comics. And it's a real cheap price. I can get behind that. Because you're not asking me to shell out a bunch of money and then not give me a complete story. And in these days of free comics online, it's a hard sale. If you got to get up on the screen like that, it's time to get off the river called denial. All right, well, where would you like me to set? They're tiny little words on the screen. Where are your glasses? See, it's the weight that they are paying for. You probably pay more for the weight, you see? It's just easier. Nope. They're tiny little words. And I can read them from back here. In your face, she spins. What's this? Oh, that's a fun comic book. Here's one of the first comic books I ever owned. My mom bought this for me. I asked for comics. Farsighted? No, I have a astigmatism. But I got LASIK eye surgery, and so my prescription is super small now, so I don't wear them unless I go to the movie theater or a football game. This is Ireland, a graphic history. It is a very interesting comic book. But my mom bought this for me. I asked for comic books for like Christmas or my birthday or something, and she bought me this. It's actually pretty interesting. And at that time, I was like, why didn't she get me Superman or Batman? And I was an ungrateful little snot. Why, thank you. That was her idea of a comic. I'm surprised she didn't get you those church cartoony books for Sunday school. Well, we had those when we were kids. That and Archie. You know, so we could read Archie and the Christian comics. Some friends of ours gave us a more edgy Christian comic, and she hated them. Natasha International, as Ellis calls you. Yeah, I was streaming. I saw Ellis's notification pop up, and I was like, oh, man, I'm missing Ellis so I can stream? Terrible. That was terrible of me. I'll probably go back and watch it because I love Ellis. The fact that I have more subscribers on Ellis than Ellis does at this point, it makes me depressed about my life because he is way more entertaining than me. So I don't know how I managed it. But anyways, nowadays I'm way more interested in this comic about the history of Ireland and like this I don't know, it just, this, General Grunge, you're here too. Ugh. I know, I saw Ellis's thing pop up, and I was like, I literally considered stopping my streaming so that I could go watch Ellis's stream. We used to save the Bazooka wrappers for the Archie comics and the mini books that came in the Cracker Jacks. Yeah. I had Bazooka comics too. I actually got some of the comics recently. Let me go grab them that my mom bought us when we were kids. I got these recently because I wasn't sure what happened to the originals. They might be at my parents' house, they might not. But they were these crossovers between these sports heroes, Ozzie Smith and Nolan Ryan and Jackie Joyner Kersey and Tony the Tiger. I'm guessing she sent away for these I'm guessing these were sendaways for basically box top things, I'm guessing. But those were some comics we had as a kid. But that Ireland one, potato famines and drinking, not much to Ireland. True. But then they were literally sad you didn't show up. Oh, my heart is broken now. My heart is broken. I'll have to go apologize. That's why I don't stream on Wednesdays. Wednesdays is too full. Like, often I'll be about to stream, and then I'm like, oh, wait, no, Ellis is coming on. But I forgot it was Wednesday. So I started streaming. And then later you have the Drawn and Quartered, and so people watch that. But the Ireland comic, I digress. The Ireland comic. When I was a kid, my mom bought me that. I was not into it. And I read the whole thing. I enjoyed it. But I was kind of like sad that she didn't get me a superhero one. But now that's the kind of thing I'm more interested in, is something kind of strange and different. Don't worry, I told them you said you would stream against them and destroy them. Thank you for telling the truth, General Grudge. I love how truthful you are. I don't want to say that comic's weird, but it is. There is some weird stuff to it, weird elements to it. But it's a little off the wall. And it kind of shows what you can do with comics. It doesn't necessarily... It can be, and you can enjoy doing a superhero comic. But you can do something different and strange. And it may not sell, but at least you're having fun. Yeah, I'm probably going to do a longer video about these comics. Maybe one that I actually put time into. And they sent me duplicates of this Ozzie Smith one, so I might do a giveaway with that. I haven't decided. But I'll probably do a video looking at these, see if I can find any of the history about these and talk about them, because that was part of my childhood. And I'm interested in the idea of sports comics. I don't know if I would ever draw one, but I'm definitely interested in the concept. There really isn't a lot of examples of it when you think about it, at least in the Western comics. There's a lot more sports-themed manga than there is American Western comics. This one is interesting. So this is a comic that is drawn, or it's written by Keith Giffen, but it's drawn. I think he did the breakdowns, but he didn't draw it. But it's like all 9-panel. Yeah, except for the splash page here that says their names. Plots and breakdowns by Keith Giffen. Script by somebody. Art by somebody. Pat Broderick. Anyways, the point is it's almost exclusively all these 9-panel grids. And you don't see a lot of comics like that outside of Watchmen. So I'm interested to check out that whole series and see if that whole series is like that. But I thought that was neat. I like Keith Giffen. Set those aside. Here's one I'd also like to see more of. I picked it up because it's an Alan Moore one, Vigilante. I'm not the biggest Alan Moore fan, but I'm trying to be convinced. I'll tell you who it's not, Nigel Movie Guy. It's not Alan Moore. But I am interested to read this. I read that one, and it was of interest. Who's my favorite comic book writer? Oh, man. It's tough to say. It comes down to that same problem I had with picking my favorite comic book of all time. It's super hard. It's not that I love so many, and so many are fantastic and great. It's that the nature of comic books, a lot of the time, is that they're ongoing. And so they sort of have a different place in my mind. But off the top of my head, my favorite comic book writers are this guy, old Doug TenNapel, is definitely influential on me. I don't know if that makes him my favorite, but he's been a big influence on me ever since I started reading his stuff. We'll put that away later. Oh, who else? This guy, Bill Willingham, Fables, is really enjoyable. I like it for the writing. The art is fun, but it's not anything to... I don't know, it's not that I really notice the art as much as I notice the story in it. No, I haven't gotten it yet. Oh, it's not shipped. I think it's coming on Saturday is the projected date of arrival. And I'm really excited for that. It doesn't bother me that that's sticking out. But I'd say those two guys probably for writers. Bill Willingham, I think, is a good writer. I haven't read too much of his stuff outside of Fables, though, to be honest with you. The only other thing I've really read of his outside of Fables is this random Robin comic I found. I think it was on clearance or something. That was written by Bill Willingham, and it has I did a video about it here on the channel, but it has a pretty good explanation of why Batman doesn't use guns. That actually is competent. At a certain time, I would have said Jeff Johns was good, but I think he's sort of... I don't think I would call him my favorite. That's for sure. Neil Gaiman I really like as a writer, but his comic book work often gets too weird for me. Like Marvel 1602. It's an interesting book, but if this hadn't been super cheap, I would have been... If I bought this at full price, I would have regretted it. I would have regretted my purchase. Whereas I've never regretted a Doug TenNapel purchase, I'll tell you that. Or a purchase of Fables. I'm just trying to go through the ones that I like. One of my favorite artists is Aaron Lopresti, right? Aaron, don't look at this. Never watch this and see that I bought a used copy of this book. But I like... This story is a lot of fun. And I love his artwork. But I don't know that I've read enough of his stuff to say he's one of my favorite writers. And I don't think I would say that. Even though I like it. I like what I've read of his, you see. You dig? I can tell you who it's not. Better than I can... I got that sketchbook too for Doug, signed and head sketch. What? You got the sketchbook? I wish I had the sketchbook. They're so expensive. Writers I don't like. Most of Grant Morrison stuff. I like All-Star Superman. That's about it. Sometimes when he's working with other people, like 52 is really good, but it's like who was in charge of it? Like, did they all come up with it? I don't know how it worked. But Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison, Greg Rucka, Mark Waid, and Keith Giffen, they all wrote it together. Oh, Mark Waid. Oh, he's terrible. Oh, we're supposed to hate him. I don't hate Mark Waid. Sorry. I think it's hard to say. Hard to say. $100? Steal. That's a steal. Who? I don't know. It's like there's people that I like. Like I've never read a Peter J. Tomasi comic I hated. But is he one of my favorites? I doubt it, but I don't know. Who knows? Comics are a weird thing because so often it's rare for me to follow a writer or an artist where I'll buy whatever they put out. The only people like that are indie guys. Like Doug TenNapel's not necessarily an indie guy. I mean, now he is because he's publishing independent. But before he was working at making books with Scholastic. Scholastic's not exactly an independent company, and Image is indie. I don't even know, but he's putting out books with them. So he has been indie at certain points in his career, certainly, and I'm more like that's a guy that I follow the particular artist, the writer and artist of that book, and I try to get basically everything they've put out, but that's a rarity. Like it's impossible to go and find to collect every Jeff Johns thing. That just hurts my brain, and I wouldn't even want all of it. Like there's individual things that I like that Jeff Johns has worked on. Like this series is pretty good. But then there's other ones I don't have any interest in. Well, like Jeff Smith, right? I have Bone and I have this Captain Marvel book here. But I don't necessarily go and seek out his other stuff. Comics are weird. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yes. Or like Frank Miller, for another example, as we continue to go on. Like, I like some of Frank Miller's work, but there's a bunch of Frank Miller stuff I have no interest in. So I don't think I could ever call him my favorite. What's this? Oh, there's your Virgils. Here we've got Alan Moore with a comic drawn by Kurt Swan. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow? That's famous. That's famous work. Like, I have a fair bit of Alan Moore stuff, but I don't actually really like too much of his. I don't know. When he gets away from the traditional superhero, he gets too crazy. He goes too crazy. Too crazy, I tell you. Like I don't think I've read enough of most of these people because they have such a huge catalog. When they are writing so many comics and they have such a long career, it's almost impossible to read all of this stuff. And that, I guess that's why someone like Doug TenNapel is more appealing, because his books are self-contained, and but for the most part, nowadays they're a series, but they have a complete story told within their pages, and it's easier to follow that and to follow that person as a writer. Oh man, you have the Art of Dragonlance books from when you were in boot camp? That sounds awesome. That sounds really cool. That old D&D art was great. And I feel like nowadays everything's done with digital painting. And I like working digital sometimes, but man, that old oil painting was fantastic. 30 to 40 years plus. Yeah. Like with Marv Wolfman. Like there's individual things that I like, that I've enjoyed reading from him, but then there's other stuff that I don't. I don't think that most of these comic book writers have a lot of these were oils on Masonite. Yeah, like I know Frank Frazetta painted on Masonite a lot, and they give a distinct look to it. The guy we were talking about earlier, Ellis Goodson, he actually recently scanned in some like Masonite, and he was and put it on his computer, and he was trying to get the look of those oils on Masonite on his iPad, and it was really interesting because he actually managed to like make it look more traditional, which was cool. But most of these guys, these writers here, they write so much that it's hard for them to develop a style of writing, I guess. Unless you're Grant Morrison, your style's like craziness or weirdo-ness or something. I don't even know. Postmodern witchcraft or whatever he wants to call it. But there's certain qualities that they have. But I've never... I don't know. Yeah, they have to go to whatever gave them a paycheck. That's right, Cross. Rick, you're exactly right. They're trying to feed their families, and that's admirable. But it also means that there's a lot of stuff out there that they didn't necessarily, it isn't something that's going to be remembered as great writing a lot of the time. Like, and there's so much of it. There's just so much from that long of career where you're writing a comic book every month for 30 to 40 years, or multiple comic books. There's just too much content. Too much. What's this book? Yeah. Huh. Yeah, we're still streaming, Reese. Terrible. My favorite writer is probably the person that wrote The Amazing World of Gumball After School Special. Let's see what their name is. The first one's name is Zachary Clement. And then Philip Murphy. And then a bunch of other people. Those are my favorite writers. You just finished up a call with Krotz. I bet that was productive. Matt Krotz, if anybody has not backed his book Kyrie, Exiles in Wasteland, it's Kyrie. I recommend that a lot. Who was I talking about? You. Terry Brooks, the Shannara Chronicles. I have a bunch of those over there. Do you have a favorite writer who isn't a comic book writer? I don't know. It changes over time. I have a favorite novel. I have groups of favorites. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Maybe we'll do a dedicated book stream where I talk about fantasy and science fiction and literature. You know, because science fiction and fantasy aren't real literature. But I have a bunch of Shannara books over there, like she's been talking about. But I wouldn't say Terry Brooks is far from my favorite. Maybe C.S. Lewis or Tolkien. There you go. C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, Matthew D. Reese says. Were you confusing Matt's? What did I say? Yeah, he was talking about Matt Krotz. His book, Kyrie. See you, Matthew D. Reese. His book, Kyrie. Kyrie. Ted Dekker is favorite not comic book writer. Oh, we have a bunch of Ted Dekker stuff on the shelf right over there. Lady Vixen's a big fan. I have read part of one of the color ones. Which one?
The first one.
The first one, whatever the first one is. Yeah, I was listening to it, and I could not get into it at the time. But I will try again. I have promised, Lady Vixen. I liked Frank Peretti a lot when I was younger. What's up, Crossplay Gaming? But like my favorite novel is One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. But I wouldn't call Alexander Solzhenitsyn my favorite writer. But Lewis is definitely up there.
Can you say night-night?
Night-night, buddy. Night-night, James. I love you. What? What? You want to draw? Can you put the pencils down, though? You see a controller over there? He smells good. Oh. As a kid, as a younger man, I really liked Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park, and a lot of those books. But he's not, I would call him my favorite. But Lewis, I guess C.S. Lewis would probably be up there at the top. With Tolkien. Those two dudes. Brandon Sanderson is a writer I greatly admire. Quite a bit. In terms of his production and quality. He'd probably be near my top. In terms of the qualities that I like about him. Who else? I like Neil Gaiman a lot. I like his non-comic book writing a lot. He has been... I've read most of his stuff. Some stuff I don't like American Gods. I wasn't too big on. Stardust is really good. So I guess he's not my favorite. I'm trying to look on these shelves and think about it. I like Tim Powers a lot. He's one of my favorite writers, Tim Powers. If you guys haven't read his books, they are kind of weird and strange, and I like that. Oh, Terry Pratchett. He's up there. Terry Pratchett's up there, especially his older stuff. I was actually going to talk about Hogfather earlier, and then I got distracted. But Terry Pratchett's great. I love his book, Going Postal's one of my favorite books. I do love Ray Bradbury. I like his prose a lot. I wish that he had written more novels, to be honest with you. But also Douglas Adams, the guy who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and its sequels, and he wrote Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. He was a really great writer. I'm trying to look around on some of these shelves and see. Have I ever read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? When I was a youngster, I did. And I read The Great Glass Elevator. But I didn't care as much for that one. But yes, I read those as a kid. Ooh, we've got children's books here. So I've been cleaning up my office. And it's actually getting there. Basically, we're going through and getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And finally opening boxes that haven't been opened since we moved in and trying to get rid of stuff. Let's see what's in this. These are all Lady Vixen's books from when she was a kid. All my books from when I was a kid, my parents have them. Oh, gosh, here's a heartbreaking one. Bridge to Terabithia. If you haven't read that one. It's not for the faint of heart. Here's one I've wanted to read for a really long time and never got around to reading. The Giver. I should maybe leave that out and read that. Often these children's books are more interesting to me than the ones for adults. Oh, weird. It's like a mini Where's Waldo. How could you even see this? You'd have to have a magnifying glass for this. The whole point is that they're supposed to be huge and you're supposed to enjoy the art. Look how tiny. Oh, you saw the movie of Bridge to Terabithia? Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about the newer one. Yeah, me too. It was pretty good, all things considered. I think the story is good, and that's why the movie was good. Man, Lady Vixen had a lot of the classics. It came with a magnifying glass. That's hilarious, Lady Vixen. The Secret Garden. Maniac McGee by Louis Sachar. No, Jerry Spinelli. Here's a Louis Sachar. I saw this one sitting next to it, and that's why I messed up. There's a boy in the girl's bathroom by Louis Sachar. Oh, and Wayside School is Falling Down. I know Lady Vixen liked those books a lot when she was a kid. Oh, here we go. Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger. Basically, I need to find a spot for all these books that are in this box and elsewhere. What else is in here? Oh, here's another classic. Anne of Green Gables. When I was a kid, Lady Vixen says, I would have said Sachar was my favorite author. Yeah, you loved those. You've talked to me about them a lot. I like Anne of Green Gables. That's a pretty good series. At least I've read the first one. I like that. So I want to read more of it. Oh, here's another Wayside School. Sideways Stories from Wayside School. Here's Liddy. I'm not as familiar with this one. Yep, Canadian, that's right. Canadian author, L.M. Montgomery. But that's good stuff. Don't tell P Money, but that's a Canadian thing I can get behind. Here's one. I think this one's actually belonged to me. Ray Bradbury's The Halloween Tree. Yeah, we have. Oh, I haven't seen the new one that's on Netflix, but we have the one from back in the early '90s, I think, that they did did like the Canadian Broadcasting Company or somebody did. But if you haven't read this one, and your kids like a little bit spookier thing, that's a good one for around Halloween time. Ray Bradbury's stuff is always fun, and this one is they all have a weird eeriness to them, and that's a good one. These ones are picture books. Ooh, Fractured Fairy Tales. I should read this. I loved the show, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Well, here we have Whiskers and Rhymes. I've been looking at this picture book art a lot lately and been really interesting. The Canadian Anne of Green Gables is a classic. The Netflix one is trash. Yeah, General Grudge. That's why we avoided it. The High Rise, Glorious, Skittle Scat, Rora, Sky Pie, Angel Food Cake. That's quite the name. Ooh, that is some good-looking illustration. I like the look of these. Man, like, picture books, I've been really inspired by the art recently. Well, here's another classic, A Little Princess. That is one where I haven't actually read the book. The Classroom at the End of the Hall. Is this one that you liked a lot, Lady Vixen? Ooh. Even like this style of children's book illustration, I'm really interested in. The Endless Step. I haven't heard of some of these. Lady Vixen will have to tell me about them. Oh, this one looks like it's about the Holocaust. Possibly. No, wait, maybe not. Nope, this one is about Russian gulags, exiled to Siberia. That is even more interest to me than it was just looking at it as a normal book. Chasing Redbird. There's a lot of ones on here I'm not familiar with. Here's one I did read as a kid, The Red Badge of Courage. Complete and unabridged. That one was similar to Louis Sachar. Obviously not the one about the gulag. You're talking about the Classroom at the End of the Hall. A lot of great stuff in here that I'm interested in reading. Mandy. Mandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea. Oh, wait, no, that's Brandy. That's Brandy. My bad, guys. They made a movie of this one, Ella Enchanted. What else is in here? I'm going to have to put these all back in the box. Look at those ones. Dogs Don't Tell Jokes. A book about Florence Nightingale. What's this? Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. That's a Bible verse. I'm interested in reading this one. Nigel Movie Guy says, I have heard that song before in a Guardians of the Galaxy film. I have heard that song before, and my dad playing it as a child. For me, as a child. Multiple times. So, once it was put in that Guardians movie and everybody liked it, I was kind of like mad, Like, no, stop it. My dad and I enjoyed this song, and now everybody enjoys it. Obviously, it was a top 40 hit, but back in the day. But the point is, people only like it because it's been in that movie. Sleeping Ugly instead of Sleeping Beauty. That one sounds interesting, Lady Vixen. What else we got in here? What's this? Spunky, about a dog. Is that a good one? The Giver, we talked about that already. Pee-wee Scouts, the Pee-wee Jubilee. There's a lot of cool things in here. I got a resurgence of being trendy all because of Groot. Yeah. What's fantastic? Which one? You got to be more specific. I'm going quick here. I'm guessing you're talking about this one. Another dog book, A Dog's Life. The autobiography of a stray. The autobiography of a stray? He wrote it? This dog wrote the book? Come on. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Let's see. Look at those ones. What's under here? Here we've got some golden books and Dr. Seuss. The rest of these are kind of picture books. Except for these ones. There's a bunch of these ones. Holy moly. I did not realize how many of these you have. These are all American Girls books. I mean, there are so many of these. Sleeping Ugly? Oh, interesting. I'm kind of interested to read it. How dare Guardians of the Galaxy hurts Fox's attempts to be a hipster. It wasn't an attempt. It was something I enjoyed with my father. Having shown us his, when he was listening to popular music. He was trying to share it with us. Now it's shared with the world. I told you I have all the books of the originals. I didn't realize how many there were. I'm going to get them all out. See if I can lift this much weight. Look at that. That's a bunch of books. What's the best one, Lady Vixen? What's your favorite one? When you said I have all the original American Girls books, I figured it was like 10. Not 50. Hey, these aren't mine. These aren't mine, Timotei. I think Lady Vixen does have an American Girl still. But all my children's books that I had as a kid are at my parents' house. Unfortunately, most of them. I think I took a few of them. Like My Side of the Mountain I have here. That's one of my favorite novels of all time. And the movie adaptation of that is garbage. Absolutely garbage. Well, somehow those books were neatly put in there, and it is, I don't know. Now the box isn't closing, so obviously I didn't pack them right. Timotei had all the American Girl dolls? Oh, your books. Your books. I was so confused. I guess I've read a few things in my day. I guess I've read a couple of things. I'd hate to count how many books are in this room. If we didn't count the comic books, I don't know, there's thousands. I don't know, thousands. Maybe not thousands. Hundreds? Certainly hundreds. Let's see, how many books fit on a shelf? We count one shelf here. I don't know, that's not entertaining. Lady Vixen has the little 6-inch Kirsten. That was her favorite. I remember on Kids' Book where the mom was an ugly monster. The art was so surreal. Yeah, like, children's art is usually really amazing. I left the new one I bought in the other room. Do you have the book Secret Identity? No, I don't think I do. Should I get it? Eric? Like, let me just grab a couple of things that might be of interest on this other shelf over here to look at. So these ones are by Brandon Sanderson. And these are actually like signed and limited editions. Yeah, they're only signed special edition, and they're numbered. There's only 1,000 of these. Oh, so rare. And I have the same number for each one, which is like 513. Those are really nice. And that's an interesting series. Basically, this guy is got multiple personality disorder of a sort. And so he's capable of having his multiple personalities and all being specialized in a certain aspect of, like, one's really smart about, knows a lot about history, and one knows all these languages, and one's good with fighting, and it's kind of an interesting series. And you don't have, they're available not in these limited ones, but if you wanted a series to check out, it's a pretty good one. The books back then had a late 90s charm to them. Today's kids' books look so sterile and void. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it is very... Yeah, they just don't feel as rich, maybe. It's a story of, Eric Hawkins says, it's the story of Joe Shuster's life after Superman, how he had to do fetish comics to make a living. Has an introduction by Stan Lee. Interesting. I don't know what you mean, She Spins. Xavier? Who's Xavier? Here's my favorite novel of all time. This is One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. It is about one day in the life of Ivan Denisovich, who is who's a prisoner in a Russian gulag. And yeah, this book changed my life. This is the book that really I had enjoyed writing before that, mostly because I was good at it. And Professor X from X-Men in Legion, his son had those powers. Really interesting. I did not know that. I'm not a big Marvel guy. I have some of the like the Chris Claremont, John Byrne era stuff, but not a big Marvel guy. Don't tell anybody. Everyone gets all mad when I say that. But this book made me want to be a writer, and it showed me that writing stories didn't have to just be about some crazy plot or some mystery or something. It could be about, so if you're a good enough writer, it can be about someone's normal, mundane, in a sense, life in a prison. Nothing too out of the ordinary even has to happen, but it could be profound and have meaning. And yeah, so if you haven't read that, I recommend it. Most of the things I recommend, though, people get back to me and they're like, I don't get it, or I didn't like it. Like someone recently, a friend of mine from high school, watched the movie that I talk about in a video here on the channel called My Favorite Movie That No One Has Heard Of. You can find it on the channel page. It's the one that's linked to the channel page, I think. But it's my favorite movie, and it is called Kidnapped. It's based on a novel that I love called Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. And he watched it and he was like, it was terrible, it was awful. And it is not awful. It's a fantastically made film. I am profound, have meaning. Why, thank you, Nigel Murphy guy. Here's another one of my favorite, it's not a novel. This is actually a nonfiction book called The Bronx Zoo. And it is about the Yankees. I'm not a Yankees fan or anything. But it is about Sparky Lyle, who was a closing pitcher. It does feature Peter O'Toole. That's true. It's his debut. But Sparky Lyle was a closing pitcher who won the Cy Young Award. And then basically, at 1 year later, the Yankees traded him after winning the Cy Young Award. But this is the funniest book I've ever read. I'm not even a Yankees fan, Nigel. I mean, we might not be able to be friends anymore now that I found out you're a Cubs fan. But maybe I'll allow it. But if you haven't read that book, absolutely fantastic. Like I said, one of the funniest things I've ever read. There's not a lot of books that make me laugh out loud. Terry Pratchett has made me laugh out loud, and this book, and that's about it. I'm looking for a specific book. I'll be back. Alright, I couldn't find the one I was looking for. How about the Dodgers? They're my backup team. Ooh, that's even worse. That's even worse. You see, I'm a Brewers fan and a Diamondbacks fan. So here's a depressing book. This is definitely not the one I was looking for. I was looking for 1984, which is also depressing, but is way worth reading. This is Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Cormac McCarthy's The Road. If you haven't read this, it is like it's so bleak and so dark, but it's definitely a well-written book, and it won the Pulitzer Prize, and it was an Oprah Book Club pick. I mean, if that doesn't tell you how great it is. It's a weird choice for a bunch of stay-at-home soccer moms to read that watch Oprah back in the day. But if you haven't read that, that's another one I'd recommend. And here's my favorite science fiction books of all time. The Space Trilogy, Out of the Silent Planet, Paralendra, and That Hideous Strength. Those are some great ones. Yeah. Yeah, she is wealthy. That's absolutely true. Well, are you a Tigers fan, though, Eric Hawkins? Because that's also depressing. That better, Eric Hawkins? That make you feel more at home? Anyways, Kansas City Chiefs for football. Interesting, you're all over the place. Tigers, is that baseball? Yeah. I think so. I mean, is there really... Does Detroit really have teams? I'm a Tigers fan even though I live in St. Louis now. Oh, so you're a St. Louis Browns fan now. Right? Isn't that the baseball team from St. Louis? Certainly not the Cardinals. They're from Chicago. Yes, but I have lots of books. There are lots of books in this house. You know what? Another contender for my favorite author, Charles Dickens. David Copperfield is a fantastic book. That's probably my favorite Charles Dickens book. Look how long that is. And look at the size of the font. I might actually need glasses to read this one, She Spins. When Mr. and Mrs. Murdstone, holy cow, 142 pages in, and Mr. and Miss Murdstone are still lit. Jeez, it's a long book, but I love it. I love it. Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, Lions, hometown boy. Though I honestly don't follow sports anymore. Me either. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a complete sporting event. Actually, I probably could. It was when Lady Vixen and I went to see a Diamondbacks game. That was probably the last time I watched from beginning to end a sporting event. Yeah, but I grew up... I'm not a huge Cardinals fan, but I cheer for the Cardinals. But the Suns and the Wildcats, obviously. And then my dad was raised in Southern California, grew in rooting for the Chargers. And then he moved to Wisconsin, and you couldn't live in Wisconsin and not be a Packers fan. So he became a Packers fan. And he was young when he moved. He was basically like, he was rooting for the Chargers, and then his teenage years were all spent in Wisconsin. So he became a Packers fan by default. So. I'm not really a Bucks fan. And the Brewers, I don't really follow them anymore. I don't really follow baseball at all, but when I was following sports, when I was following baseball, I was really only following the Diamondbacks. But I would cheer for the Brewers against anybody other than the Diamondbacks. Or the Padres, I guess. San Diego used to have sports teams, now it's just the Padres. Chargers are in Los Angeles, the Clippers are in Los Angeles, the Rockets are in Houston. Poor San Diego. Poor San Diego. Here's some good books. Some profound books. How Should We Then Live by Francis A. Schaeffer. That's a really profound book about art and Western civilization and Christianity. Francis Schaeffer, he's one of my favorite writers. Go in there. Go in there, book. Oh. Here's another one of my favorite writers. James White. This one's The Sovereign Grace of God, and this one's The Potter's Freedom. Yeah, he's one of my favorite writers. Certainly. And The God Who Justifies. That's a good one. Most of these books, a lot of these books on this shelf and then that shelf over there are all theology books. Boom. Yeah, you can't live in Wisconsin and not be a cheesehead. Yeah, it's kind of the rule. But no one really cares about the Bucks. Not even people in Wisconsin care about the Bucks. I've never heard any of my relatives that live in Wisconsin ever talk about the Bucks ever, but they certainly talk about the Packers. I only go to events if I get free tickets now. Yeah, we got free tickets. Although the Diamondbacks have this amazing deal, where I think it's like $30 ticket for baseball. Which you think like $30? It's kind of expensive, but it's a certain section of the stadium, and you get all you can eat hot dogs and like chips and peanuts and soda fountain till the 7th inning. And then right before the 7th inning, you just go and grab yourself a bunch of hot dogs, and then you have hot dogs for the whole game. It's amazing, and it's such a great deal. It's the greatest thing ever in terms of baseball and going to a game. So should I ink this and turn it into drawn and quartered, my drawing of Snake from earlier? I'll say, what's the next book that's coming out, Eric? I hope it's that Moon Knight looking one. Scarab or whatever. I think it's in the back. Where's, I don't know where my copies of... I probably put them in with the single issue comics, but I think you have the advertisement for the next book in the back of Zombiful World of Oz. If you guys didn't know, for you that aren't familiar with Eric Hawkins, he's a wonderful artist and a great, fantastic human being. No, he's not. No, he is a great artist and a wonderful human being. And his comic book series, the Zombiful World of Oz, is a tongue twister, and it's fantastic. It's one of the few single issue comics being put out by people now where, like, you know, basically a floppy format that I actually get, because he works really fast and puts them out in a reasonable amount of time, and they're inexpensive. So, yes. All right, I think I need to go help put the baby to sleep. So I'm going to wrap up the stream. It's been 2 hours. I have an Ellis Goodson stream to go catch up on. I have actual work to do. I'm behind on some work that I have promised people I would do. So I worked on some of that today, though. I lettered some stuff and cleaned up some artwork that I need to get finished. For Skinny's campaign, Otis Stein. If you guys didn't know, if you back Otis Stein, and you do so at the physical tier, you will actually get a free little chick tract style comic drawn by me. And that is what I've been working on, trying to get the thing lettered. It's nearly done. A couple more days. And then that'll be finished, and then I can get back to my own book, which I've only got a few more pages left on that, and then the first entry will be done. And then after that, I think I'm just going to draw it until I get like a crazy amount of pages done for that, and then I'll put the whole book out at that point. But it's going to be like a little bonus, like a little preview issue. It'll be a complete little narrative, but it's going to be basically a preview of what's to come. Yes. You can follow me on Twitter. You can subscribe to me on Twitch. Lady Vixen and I have been playing video games on Twitch a lot of the time, so twitch.tv /FlyFoxPro. On there, Instagram FlyFoxPro, Twitter FlyFoxPro. FlyFox Productions on Facebook if you want to follow that page, or FlyFoxProductions.com. Sometimes I post stuff there. Yeah, everybody thinks pro stands for professional. It stands for productions. From when I worked in video production. So everybody tries to, like, somebody was joking the other day and like, oh, not really a pro, are you? Well, this is how it stands for productions and not professional. Joke's on you. I could stream Phantasy Star on Twitch. That's true. That's true, I could. I very well could. FlyFox unprofessional. Well, I mean, in a way, it does refer to a profession that I once was working full-time in, which was video production. So, it's not real. I mean, most people just call me FlyFox. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It's sort of become my nom de plume. Did I beat Ninja Gaiden? No, not even close, dude. Not even close. I am going to continue to play it, but I am stuck. It might be a little hard for me. I'm kind of a casual gamer. Nigel beat it. Yeah, well, Nigel's awesome. Oh, Nigel beat the original Ninja Gaiden. I was playing Ninja Gaiden Black for Xbox. The original Xbox. So, yeah. If you guys aren't into Twitch, that's fine. I also stream occasionally on the Koine Geek channel here on YouTube, which is a joint venture between myself and my friend Elliot. We do a podcast, mostly about video games. We interviewed Doug Tenaple. That is available on the YouTube channel, if you haven't seen that. And he streams video games on his Twitch channel, and I stream video games on the YouTube channel from time to time. I'm also going to be playing through the LucasArts series of point-and-click adventure games here on this channel. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check that out. Probably be doing that on Friday, I think, unless there's something I'm supposed to be doing that I've forgotten about. Last time we blew up the nuclear reactor in the Maniac Mansion, and everybody died. So hopefully this time we won't blow everybody up with a nuclear explosion. And also be on the lookout for videos coming soon of a review of Titan, Mouse of Might by Gary Shipman. And then a review of these Tony the Tiger sports comics. And also a review of Kyrie from Matt Krotz. Will be coming out soon. Bigfoot Bill 2. Some of these are going to be a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more like actually looking at the things, actually preparing and writing some stuff down instead of the off-the-cuff ones that I do for most of the comics. Also, I have been writing a review of Mike Allred's Bug comic that came out not too long ago. That should be interesting, I guess. It's definitely an interesting comic, and I don't know why, but I picked it. You'll find out when the review comes out why I picked this to do a little bit more in-depth review. And, yeah. Be on the lookout for all that stuff. Adios, my audience. Thank you for sticking with me for 2 hours. A lot of you were here pretty much the whole time. I admire your drive and tenacity to watch me talk about random stuff I pull off the shelf. You must be desperate for entertainment. But I'm perfectly receptive and grateful for me being the person you're wasting your time with. There's Cobra for Eric Hawkins. All right, see ya, FlyFox Pro Wrestler. See ya, Timothy Best. I'm really leaving this time, I promise.